Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. Bears.
Stafford down the middle is intercepted. DJ Moore.
Overthrows and intercepted for DJ Moore.
Will I see you again?
Freeman throws and it is intercepted by DJ Moore.
Pushing up the hill, searching for the thrill of it.
Takes the snap from his own end zone, winds up, throws into traffic. It is deflected, picked up by DJ Moore. Moore to 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, touchdown Bears. DJ Moore, pick 6.
You are tuned in to the Chris and DJ Show with former Chicago Bears nickelback DJ Moore. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Chris and DJ Show. I'm Chris Shanfield. He's former Chicago Bear. DJ Moore, number 30, nickelback for the beloved. And, of course, as always, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Chris and DJ Show and subscribe to the show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and really anywhere you can get your podcasts at. DJ, the Chicago Bears have found their new defensive coordinator, and that is Sean Desai. He's been with the organization since 2013 as a quality control assistant. He's worked his way up since then. Now I say 2013, so he's been here since the Mark Trestman era. He survived that regime, and from there, Vic Fangio really took him under his wing. Once Fangio got the head coaching gig in Denver, he tried bringing Sean Desai with him, but the Bears were able to reject that. And then for the past 2 seasons here in Chicago, Sean Desai has been the safeties coach. And you hear over the past few days since this news was broken, from offensive players, from defensive players, guys really seem to respect and speak highly of Sean Desai and what he brings to the table. Other guys that were interviewed for the defensive coaching job here in Chicago was George Edwards. He's a former Vikings defensive coordinator for 4 years with Mike Zimmer. Now he's a senior assistant with the Dallas Cowboys. He interviewed for the job. Jonathan Gannon, who was the Colts defensive backs coach, he landed the defensive coordinator job with the Philadelphia Eagles. James Betcher also interviewed for the job, former Cardinals, former Giants defensive coordinator, rumored to have a close relationship with Matt Nagy. And the last, but certainly not least, name that was rumored to have interviewed for this job, DJ, probably most notably out of all those names, is Mike Singletary, the former 49ers head coach, and obviously more known for being a Hall of Fame linebacker for the Chicago Bears in the 80s and 90s. Obviously, a big part of the 85 Chicago Bears Super Bowl winning team. 35 years ago today, by the way, the Chicago Bears last won the Super Bowl. So hopefully we're closer to I don't want to say forgetting that team, but hopefully we're getting closer and closer to another one. I'm not so sure, though, DJ. But anyways, those are the candidates that interviewed for the job. They decided to keep things in-house. They hire from within and hire safeties coach Sean Desai to be the NFL's very first of Indian descent coordinator in the NFL and bring him on as a defensive coordinator. How do you feel about the latest decision Matt Nagy made on the coaching staff?
It's a minority hire, which I think is always good. Somebody who, Fangio thought very, very highly of. To me, I think it makes sense. I think over these last couple of years, with one position that it seems to be consistently good, like at a stable level, has been the safety position. So again, like a guy that worked his way through the ranks, going from that quality control when you breaking down this week's film, next week's film, and the next week's film, you do a lot. And when the coach say jump, you ain't got to say how high. You just jump high as you can every single time. So you got to appreciate a guy who's went through all of that. Personally, I would have went Singletary. To me, it would have been a cool story. And he's he's very intense. Like when you see him coach or talk, it's always intense. And it seemed to me like he would get the most out of him. But again, if the guys like him, decide, I mean, it's fine because again, you're trying to keep that same kind of, I guess, momentum going. And if you bring a guy in from the outside, especially a strong cat like Singletary, you know what I mean? I don't know how that personality and Nagy's personality would work. So for Nagy, it's like, you know what, if I keep somebody in-house, I already understand. He already understand how I think. I can understand how he thinks, and we'll probably get along. It won't be that awkward stage of trying to figure things out. You know, should I go for it, or you know, how the defensive coordinator thinking and things like that.
Yeah, you know, the Singletary thing, I don't know if that would have been a good idea. You know, he didn't have a lot of success in San Francisco. You look at his track record.
You know, he was half a second.
For half a second. You're exactly right. Half a second he did, but other than that, you know, I mean, he was his first year 5-4. Then obviously that was when he was an interim. After that, he went 8-8, and then 5-10, and that was the end of his NFL coaching career. He bounced around the AAF. I'm not sure if you remember that league, but it was a startup league a couple years ago. He went 2-6 there, and then he even tried high school coaching. He went 1-21 in high school coaching. Not to say that all matters. I mean, you know, he interviewed for the defensive coordinating position, DJ, but I think that I would have been more than fine to bring him in as maybe maybe a positional coach or something like that. He does have a past. I think he was with the Vikings, and before that he was with the Ravens as a positional coach, linebacker coach, obviously. But and they are in need of a linebacker coach now, outside linebacker coach, that is. Ted Monachino is joining the Atlanta Falcons. He was the outside linebacker coach of the Chicago Bears. Now he's moving out with the Falcons. But, you know, I think now you already interviewed him for the defensive coordinator job. You can't come and ask him to interview for any other position or you know, even one of those. I don't know if quality control would be too low down the totem pole for Mike Singletary, but it would be a good opportunity to have a Mike Singletary around the team. Like you said, players will listen to a guy like Mike Singletary, who's been through what he's been through and had a Hall of Fame career. I absolutely believe they could have used him around the building, but for defensive coordinator, I think that may have been a little bit too much. Well,
the thing is, like when you go to San Fran, you do, like you said, the 5-4-5, and then the 8-8, then the 5-10. The thing is just like you have to have the talent. Like you were saying, oh, he went 1-20 in high school. Listen, if you go to the wrong high school, because that's just 2 seasons. If you go to the wrong high school, then the kids don't come through, or somebody down the street either recruiting or get all the good players, you just stuck. And in this defense, trying to get guys motivated, we seen that first game against Green Bay, guys seem to be quitting. To me, he's one of those motivational guys where it's like, okay, I have the pieces already. In certain situations, I didn't have all the pieces, but again, on this defense, and I'm not asking you to be the head coach, I'm just asking you to take care, you know, the defense, and really not even take care of them. I need you, someone to motivate them when it doesn't seem like they're motivated. And to me, it seems like he's that type of guy. Now, Desai probably is that guy, and, you know, the kids are kind of, I mean, the players are all used to him or whatnot, but, I mean, honestly, I think he would have been fine. And he's a Super Bowl winning, Hall of Fame, Chicago. Like, to me, it's on the flip side of that. You can mark it off of that too.
Absolutely. So I'm going to play a quick video here. It's about 1 minute and 50 seconds long. It's from Sam Acho, former Bears linebacker of 4 years. He's been around the team from, I think it was 2013 to 2017. Former linebacker for the Cardinals, spent time here with the Bears more so as a special teams ace, but played linebacker as well. And he's been beating the drum for Sean Desai for a couple of weeks now. Once it was rumored that the position was going to be open, that Chuck Pagano was going to retire, he's been banging the drum for Sean Desai. So let's go ahead and listen to what Sam Acho has to say about Sean Desai, the Bears' new defensive coordinator. Here we go. So again, that's former Bears linebacker Sam Acho. Again, former linebacker, more of a special teams ace. But and then I should have pulled this up. Even Kyle Long was tweeting about Sean Desai and how everybody just respected him. Halftime, he's the one that's making or helping players out with adjustments, this and that, knows the entire playbook. What did you take from what Sam Acho had to say, DJ?
Well, what my thing is, all right, you know what I mean? It's like if you talk to my wife, I would assume she would sing my praises. If she didn't, then we're going to have a conversation. Because a lot of these players, again, have been around him. And it's always cool to say, yeah, he's done this, he's done that. And yes, that's probably true. You probably do respect him because you got to hang around him. All right, so this is when you have a GM comes in and says, listen, I know the players are asking for him, but let me do my job and make sure you're the guy. And I'm assuming he did his job and made sure he's the guy because his job is dependent on it. This defense is what's been the backbone of the team. So if he goes out on the limb and it's his decision to say, hey, decide you're the guy, and if it goes bad, it's like, you know what? You're going to have to live with it. So, again, I can appreciate whatever the coaches say. It's like whenever Lovey come up for a job, you know what I'll say, man? He's a great coach. He does everything right. He's helped me. He did this. Now, would I be telling a lot? No, I won't. But, again, that may not be true for your situation for what you need this particular time. So, again, because he's going to have to come in, and this is a defense towards the end of the year that dropped all the way off. All right, you got Quinn at the end. You got to do something. You got to figure something out. You got to pep talk him, do something. Need you to get off the ball, get some sacks. You got Mack on the other side, do what he does. You got Hicks in the middle. He does what he does. Linebacker situation. All right. Smith, he does really good, and then randomly things happen at home. We got to figure something out. All right. Trevathan does good, but again, a little longer in the tooth. Getting exposed a little bit. So, again, safety position. All right, Gibson. Does Gibson come back, play really well? Probably outplayed your star safety. How can we get Jackson back to picking balls off and putting it in the end zone? Who's opposite of Fuller? Or is it somebody else other than Fuller? Or do you want a little more press man because Fuller's not that guy? What are we doing in the slot? Like, how would Justin – and really, to me, it's kind of like a couple of years ago before the Rockets and they traded everybody, they was like gearing up to beat the Warriors. Like, how can we beat the Warriors? And for us, it's like, how can we beat Green Bay? Like, how can we figure that out? Other teams, Tampa Bay's been able to do it. How are we able to beat Green Bay? And are we geared for that right now? We're not on offense or on defense. So the side got to figure out on defense, like, hey, right now, like, this is the team. Because if you can get past them or at least beat them one time with having 7 seasons, you'll get in. If you can split with Green Bay and beat everybody else, a Lions team without a Matthew Stafford, you assume they would struggle for a couple of years. They were struggling with Matthew Stafford. Viking team that you normally own anyway. You'll play tough games, you own them anyway. So, again, it's going to boil down to if I can beat Green Bay, I'll be probably playing at home, and every time you get in the playoff, there's always a chance.
One last thing on Sean Desai, DJ. Of course, the Bears' new defensive coordinator. Now, my thing is, while I think that this might be the right move, and you've seen a couple years ago, they let Brandon Staley out the building. Now look at him. He's the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He had a really good year, coach of the defense with the LA Rams. Obviously, they have some great playmakers on that defense. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. That's a pretty good start. But so they let him out the building. He follows Vic Fangio to Denver, and then he goes on to being the defense coordinator this year for the Rams. Now he's the new head coach of the Chargers. A lot of people were connecting the dots that Sean Desai could be that next guy. But for me, I'm also sitting back thinking, okay, I like to hear that, of course. Okay, they recognized years ago when Vic Fangio wanted to take him to Denver with him, not to let him go. So he had some type of there was some type of respect there. They knew he had something in his future. Whether or not they thought that he would be the future defense coordinator, I don't know. Could this be a situation, DJ, where it was? I mean, they were able to get guys in for interviews for sure, no doubt about it. We mentioned the names, but could this have been a situation where it was just it was tough to bring on a new defensive coordinator because this very well could be this coaching staff, this regime's last season in Chicago. So why not bring somebody up that already knows the situation, that's already familiar with our players, and bring him in? Maybe that gives us our best shot instead of bringing in somebody new that wants to, bring in an entirely new defense in an offseason where we might not have much of a chance to meet with our players or have much of an offseason program, anything like that, similar to last year.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I don't think I had to go too much further into it. Again, questionable offseason. I need somebody who knows what our players are already doing so they don't have to learn anything new. Now, again, granted, it's defense. Coach always told me, if you can count to 3, you can play for me. You're going to play 1, 2, or 3. You're going to blitz. With man, you blitz with zone. Now, again, I think guys can learn it. But, again, if they're comfortable with doing this, and I know that my job's on the line, even though the owner says that they're impressed with my ability to lose a lot of games in a row, we still know your job's on the line. You know what I mean? So, again, I have to make sure, all right, that I just put my team and my players in the best situation to perform to make me look good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I need to cut up that the soundbite of Ted Phillips word for word. Do we win enough games? No. Have we gotten the quarterback situation correct? No. But everything else is in place. Word for word is what Ted Phillips said in the end of the season press conference. I mean, the two most important things on a football team in this NFL: winning games and the quarterback position. I mean, there's a lot to unfold there, and with this franchise. And speaking of the quarterback situation, DJ, there may be another name coming available. Not a huge surprise, but this past weekend, there was a report, and everybody's now confirmed it, that the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford will be parting ways mutually at some point this season. It looks like it'll be a trade. I don't think they're going to release him. They're going to try getting something for him. I'd be surprised if they sent him anywhere that maybe he didn't have any say in. I think they're going to try and respect him, send him somewhere where, he agrees to go to. But he does still have a couple more years left on his contract. So wherever he does go, I mean, he'll probably have to play regardless. But here, you know what? Real quick, let's play this quick video from Jay Glazer, NFL reporter from Fox Sports, and he says he anticipates the Bears to be "quote unquote" big players in the quarterback market this offseason. And here's exactly what he had to say about that. So again, that's Jay Glazer, Fox Sports, and it is Deshaun Watson. That's the number one name on the list, no doubt about it. Not every year Not every few years. Very, very rarely does a quarterback of that stature, come available. So, no doubt, it's the Watson's sweepstakes are number one. DJ. It looks like maybe the Jets or even the Miami Dolphins, believe it or not, who just drafted Tua last year early in the first round. Those two might be at the top of the list in terms of chances of landing Deshaun Watson, simply just because they have more to offer than what Chicago currently does. But again, Jay Glazer, you mentioned Matthew Stafford, who became available this weekend. Would you consider trading any draft capital for Matthew Stafford, DJ? I mean, there's some out there that believe that the Detroit Lions – their asking price is going to start at a first-round draft pick. Obviously, you'd want to get the most out of whatever you can get, but I mean, are you willing to part ways with the 20th overall pick, which is where the Bears currently stand right now?
Yeah,
for Matthew Stafford.
Just one pick, I would do it, but I don't think he.
33-year-old injury-prone quarterback. Last year he had that back injury.
He could easily 33. He can easily play until he's 45. I mean, it's just they protect him. He's not an agile quarterback, even though he can kind of move out of the pocket a lot. I mean, he has a strong arm, kind of Cutler-esque, where he'll throw some really good passes, and then he'll do Matthew Stafford stuff. I think unlike like the Phillip Rivers and the Tom Brady's, he's much less proven, but for some odd reason, people love him almost as much because it's like they don't give him credit for Detroit losing. There's always somebody else. So, but again, if you're telling me it's just a 20th overall pick and then you wanted a quarterback anyway, to me it makes sense. I think to me, if I'm Matthew Stafford, I'm trying to get to New Orleans. That's where I'm trying to go. Or I'm trying to get down in Tampa Bay because I'm assuming Tom Brady's going to try to either win or retire. I just want to slide in where I can fit in with a team and a coach that is going to, put me in a position to succeed. So I think, to me, New Orleans or you know what, the Patriots. I think, to me, for veteran teams that really need a quarterback, I would put him above Watson, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I just think, even though I think Watson is really good, I just think Stafford in a established offense, to me, would just do better. Now, if you want some of those unscripted plays to happen, Watson's going to be your guy. He's going to throw for a lot of passes, but he's not proven to be able to lead a team to do anything because you can see it this year. We played him.
Yeah, I think he might be more proven though already than Matthew Stafford in terms of leading a team to more of a playoff run.
Well, yeah, but again, that's AFC. So you once luck was out, like if you beat the Colts and then the Titans were struggling, you're gonna win. You're just gonna get in. But in the NFC, you got to play against Chicago. You got to play against Green Bay. You got to play against a lot of tough competition. And you will see Detroit every year. Some reason they'll start off good, but again, they'll play against really tough competition. Now, in the games, if Stafford gonna have you in it, is he gonna throw a couple touchdowns, some Hail Marys to help you win it? He will. But I think if the right coach gets with him, though, he could easily, because he has the arm of, like, you can look around the league and say, well, who has a better arm? You'd be like, you could argue that no one does. He can sidearm stuff. He can do everything that you've seen, Mahomes and Rodgers do. He can do all that stuff. Now, again, in Detroit, it seems like he's doing it late in games more times than not. But I think he is a proven quarterback to know, what's the defense doing, that you can get it out of your hands fast and make something happen. Because it's like, if my offense is good, then my defense is bad. And it seemed like he's always had the bad luck. He's the opposite of Tom Brady. Tom Brady always has luck. It's like the ball bounced. Well, it bounced in his direction every single time. But it seemed like in Stafford's situation, it always has bounced the other way. So it may be his time.
Well, that's normally what happens when you play in Detroit, right? I mean, that's an organization. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't have it great over here in Chicago, but I mean, in terms, you compare the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears, not much of a comparison there, but they certainly seem to have gotten the quarterback situation right in the past, where the Bears still trying to get that position right. That'll be something to see Matthew Stafford go from Detroit to Chicago. I don't think it'll happen. I think he will land with either, if I had to say, probably New England, or I think Indianapolis. Now now they got to look for a quarterback. Phillip Rivers retired. Jacoby Brissett's a free agent. They currently have a undrafted free agent quarterback from last year as the only quarterback on their roster. I think Indianapolis could make a lot of sense for Matthew Stafford, and it's a team that's in need of a quarterback, and they're in that win now mode where, yeah, of course, any team would love Deshaun Watson, but they might be able to get away with Matthew Stafford and be able to go on a big run there. So, DJ, you say you have no problem trading the number 20 overall pick for Matthew Stafford. I'd consider it. I wouldn't hate it. I mean, are you going to get a quarterback or really any other player that's going to have that much of an impact that Matthew Stafford could have on the team at number 20? I mean, maybe down the line, but this regime they don't have time to wait for, let's say they go with Mac Jones, and, I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to take a couple of years to develop and eventually be the guy in order for in terms of a team that's in a win now mode. Now, obviously, you look at the Bears roster, you look at the holes on this team. They got to address the offensive line. I got to say, if they hold that 20th overall pick come draft day, that's probably where they're going to go with an offensive tackle. But it was this question that was posed, I think, prior to the show, DJ. Are the Bears a quarterback away from being a contender in the NFL? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what do? They go out and sign Tom Brady in free agency. Now, that's not the only move that they made. They made a ton more moves after that, but that's after they knew they got Tom Brady. Now, there is a Tom Brady-esque quarterback. Now, obviously, he hasn't been in the league long enough. He hasn't accomplished nearly enough as what Tom Brady has, but I'm not sure we've really ever seen a quarterback of a stature like Deshaun Watson become available at 26 years old, like we're seeing currently. If you go out and get him, that's when you start moving pieces around and get your team ready for the win now mode. I mean, once the Buccaneers signed Tom Brady, that's when they win out. And of course, they drafted a offensive tackle in the first round. They beefed up that offensive line. They signed offensive linemen in free agency to big contracts. They went out and signed Antonio Brown, who Bruce Arians a couple weeks prior to signing him said, no, we have no room on our roster for him. We don't, he said he was a diva. He didn't want anything a part of Antonio Brown. A couple weeks later, they signed Antonio Brown. He's making an impact on the team late in the season. And then, they trade for Leonard Fournette once Ronald Jones, suffers an injury. And next thing you know, they trade they didn't even need to trade him. Jacksonville cut Leonard Fournette. He seemed to be a head case in the locker room, former number 3 overall pick. Tampa Bay signs him. I mean, you see all these corresponding moves after Tom Brady is signed because they realize, hey, we got 43-year-old Tom Brady. Hey, this guy can still play. And he ain't going to be happy if we're not going to surround him with other playmakers, other guys that's going to be able to keep him up. This is a guy that's ready to win now. He's not leaving New England to just go off in the sunset on another team to be away from Bill Belichick. He's still ready to, still capable of winning, and they surround him with the right pieces. Now, are the Bears, if they were to acquire Deshaun Watson, I'm not sure if this is a team that you could rely on making those corresponding moves after they get their guy at the quarterback position, especially after years and years, decades and decades of getting that position wrong, DJ. I think they'll be almost just fine with, all right, we finally got the position right. Let's roll with what we got.
Well, for this year coming, so if I give up all my picks, I mean, I wouldn't really be able to do anything. I would have to go out and sign somebody. But again, with the salary cap, and bringing over a really high-priced quarterback already, how much money do you have? Now, if you bring over Deshaun Watson, because of the holes in the offensive line, I don't think they're as bad as the holes he dealt with, and he put up some good numbers. So, again, he has athletic ability to get out of some of those situations. A quarterback away, I would say yes. If we have a quarterback in the first playoff game, probably score more points. You don't have to do number one a couple games, and you'll find yourself in the Super Bowl. A couple of lucky bounces here and there, and here you are. I didn't think that the Tampa Bay was good enough to make it to the Super Bowl, but they've made the right plays at the right time, touchdowns at the right time, defense doing stupid things at the right time, and here we are, the fairy tale story where you get to play in your home stadium and COVID, everything is going on. Ain't no telling what's going to happen. So, again, I think we're a quarterback away, but do you have the gall to do it? Do you have the gall to say, hey, man, I'll give it to you? We've seen teams like you talking about with Tampa Bay. You're just like, listen, man, we gonna get it. We're going to try it. The Rams don't care. They going to try it. Year after year, it seems who they got. They bringing somebody in. They have a quarterback that came in, was hurt, played actually pretty well. Like, listen, he's the quarterback for now. We didn't pay. Look, he's just a quarterback for now. If we can get another one, that's what we're going to do. You need a corner? Send one off, get Ramsey. So, again, they have, to me, they've shown the capacity. Like, listen, we just trying to get it, man, by any means necessary. And for the Bears, ownership, GM, president, do we have the gall to do that? Because even this year, we didn't have the gall to fire a coach that not only fired him, we didn't even have the gall to say he did a bad job. We didn't even have that in it to say, hey, no, he did a good job doing the losing streak. No. We're not going to do the passing thing. Like, you did a shitty job, and don't do that shit again. All right? And I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm a good person, so I want to give you another chance. You got to get the hell out of here doing that. You just cannot do that. So we got to figure out, I think as an organization, do we want to win? Now we're going to have the sold-out seats, and people are going to come to the games, and they're going to fight in the stand. They're going to drink beers, and they're going to wear Bears paraphernalia, and people are going to come. We're going to celebrate the 85 Bears. Do we want to keep continuing celebrating the 85 Bears like they just run in 2020? And that's the question. So, again, from the top down, you got to figure out a way, hey, man, we're going to have to let this money go. It's going to come back to us in the long run, but we got to let it go, and we got to go for it. If this quarterback is available 26 and we feel like we've seen him do it. Make it happen.
Yeah, again, 35 years ago to the day, the Chicago Bears defeated the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20, and of course, one of, if not the greatest team of all time. 85 Bears, certainly one of the top defensive of all time. Excuse me. And now this time around, this weekend, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like you said, fairy tale story, a team that the Bears beat early in the regular season. Tom Brady forgot what down it was, and we've seen that meme over and over again. Now they go and win 3 straight games on the road in the playoffs. They beat Washington, they beat New Orleans, and now this past weekend they go into the frozen tundra of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and took out the Packers, DJ, 31-26, despite Tom Brady throwing 3 interceptions. I mean, he was lights out in that first half. That second half looked like what you would expect a 43-year-old quarterback playing in the NFL.
Man, that's what he looked like.
Seriously. So he throws 3 interceptions, and then of course that Tampa Bay defense and special teams, they made some plays as well. They're really able to make some big plays when the team needed it the most. Those 3 interceptions only resulted in 6 points, 2 field goals. And now Tampa Bay becomes the first team in NFL history to host a Super Bowl at their home stadium. Green Bay Packers, though, DJ, Aaron Rodgers actually had an all right game. Crazy to think. They did not run the ball much at all this game. The Green Bay Packers only 16 times throughout the entire game, more so in the first half than the second half. Obviously, they really fell behind coming out of halftime. And then Aaron Rodgers threw 345 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But in the post-game press conference, he left a lot of questions out there, DJ. He really answered questions, and he ended his press conference saying, thanking the media and really saying that the future is really unknown, not only for him, but a bunch of the teammates. Aaron Jones, their star running back, he's a free agent. Robert Tonyan, the standout tight end this past season, who really came out of nowhere. He's a restricted free agent this year. And then, Aaron Rodgers, he still has 3 more years left on his deal, but he was talking to the media like a guy that may have played his last game as a Green Bay Packer. I don't think so. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. I think this is a plan for maybe, and he did reiterate today on the Pat McAfee show podcast, former NFL punter of the Indianapolis Colts. Both him and A.J. Hawk, former Packers linebacker, had him on, and he reiterated, he says, I don't see any reason why I won't be back with the Green Bay Packers, but I think it was kind of a strategy to get some more guaranteed money left. He has no more guaranteed money left on his deal, DJ. I think this might be something where he's like, hey, I'm going to be the MVP this season. I mean, I'll be shocked if he isn't. 45 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions in the regular season. 3 of those interceptions coming from Tampa Bay. And then, of course, he threw another one on Sunday against Tampa Bay. So they're accounted for 4 of those now 6 interceptions of Aaron Rodgers, DJ. But I think Aaron Rodgers, he played incredible this season. I'm sure he's still pissed off that they took a quarterback in the first round. And then he goes out and have this MVP type season. I think it was a plan out of his book to try and get some more money and tell the team, hey, don't screw up this offseason like you did last offseason. Surround me with some more playmakers. Devonte Adams had a fantastic season, probably the best wide receiver in the NFL currently, certainly the best wide receiver, quarterback to wide receiver duo in the league, DJ. But maybe you should surround him with another wide receiver. I'm not sure Allen Lazard, while he had a decent year, I'm not sure he's a legit number 2. I think he wants a little bit more out of that receiver position. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is very up and down. He could have some breakout games. He could also cost the team some games. And then who knows what's going to happen with the running back position. They got Jamal Williams still. They drafted A.J. Dillon, a 250-pound running back, bruiser back out of Boston College last year. So they got those 2 guys. Will they bring Aaron Jones back? I don't know. That seems to be a big question. But what do you make of the Aaron Rodgers comments, DJ? I mean,
it was very odd. Because even if, I want to go from the angle of I can get more guaranteed money, I wouldn't say that. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be back. Like, it just sounded weird. And then he had a bandana on with a stocking cap. It even looked weird. It was just like, But again, I think he was really upset. And honestly, he should have been upset. I'm the MVP of the league, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback. Another one of those people that wear number 12. They're going to have to retire the number 12 after a while. And we're down here 4th and goal, and you take the ball out of my hand and you give it to Tom Brady, essentially like they're comparing us during the game. And although I may have respect for you, it's like, man, I want to beat you. Like, you're the person that I'm losing to. Why am I losing to you? I don't want to do that. And you take the ball out of my hand, you kick a field goal, and you say, we're going to rely on a shitty defense that we've been a part of all year. Even though we've caught 3 picks, they got some good secondary players. You're telling me at the most important time in the game, you're not going to rely on me. You're going to rely on our defense to play against Tom Brady and let me sit on the sideline and watch that shit. Even if we kick a field goal, I'm still going to need a touchdown. And you do it anyway. We're already down here, all right? If you go for it and don't get it, if I stop you down here, we'll still get a short field anyway. Everything in your head, in my head anyway, was like, field goal? So again, to me, he was a little bit scared, I think.
Rodgers made it well aware. Hey, when they asked him about it, hey, it wasn't my decision. It wasn't my decision to kick the field goal.
He just seemed so nervous because during the years, like, you don't abandon your play. You might be down 10 points, but again, You've been doing this, giving the ball to Jones, play action, making plays like he abandoned. It seemed like he was abandoning all that. Now could Aaron Rodgers have reined the ball in on third down? Probably so, because he's actually fast. They wouldn't have called him. I can promise you that.
Even if he wouldn't have gotten there, it would have made it, either fourth and shorter.
Got there.
He would have.
The thing is, to me, if you're going to throw it in, it's better to have more space anyway. So if I get closer, it's going to make it harder because, again, the field is going to get more compact. I have Aaron Rodgers, and I kick a field goal. If I'm him, man, you just got to spaz like you just on the sideline. Like, you know what? I'm calling plays. Timeout. No, I'm not doing it. We're not doing this. No, we're not. Just I don't care what you say. You can send me somewhere and put the young cat in, whatever you want to do. This is my moment, man. And the other cat is sitting on the other sideline watching me. No. You sent on the field goal. You might as well put him at middle linebacker at that point. He was hot. He probably would have tackled every damn body.
Yeah, it definitely was a crazy situation to see. Like you said, probably should have ran the ball in there on that third down. He decides to throw a late pass to Devonte Adams, I believe, in the middle of the end zone, incomplete pass, and in comes the field goal unit. And now you're banking on your defense. Again, had a decent day, but now you're banking on them to stop the greatest quarterback of all time with just over 2 minutes to go. So you had essentially 4 timeouts, but that's a big risk for any defense.
Well, it ain't even that. And to me, it's really not even the quarterback. Now again, it is Tom Brady. Eventually, he's gonna throw a pass. You see the way that they're playing. The reason that they really up on you because at the end of the half,
right?
They went for it on fourth down when nobody in the world was like, oh, that seems kind of odd to do that. Turn around, boom, a couple plays later, there's a touchdown. And that's really the difference in the game. It's like they're just playing to win and you're playing somehow not to lose when you're already losing. And then even though you've played well, what's your struggle of your defense? The run game. And they're gonna hand it off. So when they hand it off the first time, guess what they do? They get 9 yards. This puts you in this tricky situation. Now you jump outside, try to make a cover play, but again, you can't. Your letdown all year has been I can't stop the run, and Leonard Fournette can run.
Playoff Lenny.
I mean, come on, like it. Aaron Rodgers, man, didn't get a chance to try to win the game, to tie the game. That's nuts.
Again, the Buccaneers defeated the Packers 31-26 at Lambeau Field. They'll go on and host the Kansas City Chiefs now in Super Bowl 50. Is it 55? Super Bowl 55.
Something?
Yeah, Super Bowl 55. I'm pretty sure that's where we're finally at. But the Kansas City Chiefs game, DJ, how about that one? They ended up defeating the Buffalo Bills 38-24 after the Bills got off to a 9-0 lead. But the Kansas City Chiefs, we've seen it last year when the Houston Texans got off to the 24-0 lead early on in the playoffs last year, and they were able to come back like it was nothing. I mean, a 9-0 lead to Pat Mahomes and this Chiefs offense is I still had no worries. I was still pretty confident that the Chiefs were going to come back and win that football game. Bills, really good feel-good story. I think they made it further than just about anybody expected them to. That wide, speaking of quarterback to wide receiver duos, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I mean, what an offseason acquisition that was for the Buffalo Bills to trade for him from the Minnesota Vikings. And then, the fact that their running game, not much of a factor really at all this season. And to put that, I don't know if pressure is the right word, but to really put the ball in Josh Allen's hand this season, I wasn't sure he was capable of doing what he was able to do this year. but pretty impressive. But it is going to be the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, DJ. I don't know. I said it from the start of the year. I don't see any team being able to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders, they did it. I think it was week 7, week 8. They actually defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. And then, of course, the Chiefs sat a bunch of their starters, and they lost the final game of the season to the Chargers. But they very could have and probably should have finished the year 15-1. They finished 14-2. And I know Pat Mahomes is a little banged up. You couldn't tell from this last game, though. Turf toe, neck injury, maybe a concussion. I don't know. But anyways, I don't see any team. I know this defense for the Buccaneers played pretty well at times, especially when they needed to against the Green Bay Packers. But this is a different beast. I mean, not only with the players, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, even Mecole Hardman, after his hiccup early in the last game, he ended up making up for that. Not only with the players, but the head coach, Andy Reid. I mean, you've seen it against the Cleveland Browns. He's not going to, he was going to go for it on that 4th down play if he was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. I know we still got time to go, DJ, but I'll just say it flat out right now. Unless something huge comes out, I don't see any way that the Kansas City Chiefs lose this one.
Well, the thing is, you'll see Kansas City play a really good team and beat them bad, or then they'll play maybe Atlanta and barely beat them. Or you would think they were going with the Browns and because the Browns actually outplayed them, and the Browns should have won the game. It probably should be the Browns in the Super Bowl right now, probably so. But somehow, Mahomes and the Chiefs, they turn it on. The last time I think they lost was to New England and Tom Brady, correct? Wasn't that the one in the playoffs? In the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Yes.
AFC Championship game. And they should have won that game. If you remember, it was D Ford jumping off sides.
But again, the hump is what? The mountain is Mount Rushmore. The mountain is Tom Brady. How do I get past him? Because it seems like no matter how young the guy is, when they come up against Tom Brady for some odd reason, it just does not work out for them. Now, we do know Mahomes is the better quarterback. We knew Rodgers was the better quarterback last week. I mean, even Tom Brady's passes looked like they were just floating in the air, like he was just trying to throw picks at times. But he magically wins games. He magically gets rules for him, the tuck rule and all this other stuff. It's always something that's magical. He's like David Blaine of football. Just like, what happened? Yeah, we created a new rule. It's a Tom Brady thing. We didn't tell you about it, but we're going to give him back the ball with another chance to score. I think this could be one of the most exciting games. Hopefully, if the weather's good, because these two offenses, they have it, man. You have good receivers on both sides. I think Antonio Brown I don't know if he'll be back. When you got running backs on both sides, they can come out of the backfield. So for the NFL this year, especially without having the fans, man, it would be a delight to have one of those 44-45 type games because both teams have the offenses to do it. And you know the Chiefs because you know the Chiefs have that type of offense. And I think and they Tampa Bay has shown that as well. So I don't want to go against Mahomes. I really don't. But to be honest with you,
come on, man. I know you got your Tampa Bay shirt on under there, man.
No, man. Hey, listen, it's just he's the luckiest guy, man. He luckier than I am. Like all my interceptions, like I'll be sitting there not even doing anything and the ball popping my arm. Like, oh, what happened? Oh, it's an interception. Like things that somehow work out in his favor, even when he plays terrible. So it'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay does on defense. Because they don't have anybody to go at any of the Kansas City receivers one-on-one. Man, can you play zone and get after, Mahomes? It seems like you could maybe. So it'll be interesting to see what they do on defense and see if they can slow them down. But I don't want to go against Tom, man. He got like some voodoo or something. I don't know what that is.
Well, I mean, like you said, I think it is going to be a great game. Hopefully, it's a great game. I thought the Patriots and Rams Super Bowl from a couple years ago was going to be a great game, and it had its moments. But you don't want to see what was it, like 10-6?
Well, that was a 2D. Now those defenses were really good,
right?
I mean, they just were. These two defenses,
right?
They've been up and down. But if one team scores, the other team will have to keep pace. So that's why I think it has the potential to get high scoring. Kansas City defense they put some pieces together where it's like their offense and defense. Like when the offense doesn't do good, the defense does good. So they kind of help each other out. And then it's been the same way with Tampa Bay too. Whenever Tom Brady's been struggling, the defense has been stepping up. So again, you got two opportunistic defenses. I'm assuming that the ref will call the holding calls this time around, or make it even holding calls both ways. So it'll be interesting because I haven't really watched games all year, but I may have to watch this one a little bit.
Oh yeah. You got to. It should be a great game. Should be a great matchup. A lot of stars, a lot of offensive power, and then you even got some defensive names as well. I mean, JPP, Shaq Barrett, they both really stepped up big time for the Tampa Bay Bucks last week. They got Ndamukong Suh there in the middle as well. Linebackers, Levante David, Devin White as well. He's really making his impact felt in the league early on. And then Kansas City Chiefs, the Honey Badger, Frank Clark, Chris Jones. I mean, you got some names both sides of the ball as expected. I mean, they're both in the damn Super Bowl, so you got to have decent players, obviously. But so I'm going to say, DJ, you're going with Tampa Bay Bucks.
Nah, I'm not. Well,
we could revisit this. We're still what?
No, you're good. I'm with. I just think it'll be fitting. Like here's the torch. Here you go. Like you in the AFC. That's why I ruled that the whole time. You win the Super Bowl.
Right. I'm
gone. Like it's yours. It's time for me to go play with the kids and hit golf balls and wait for people to give me $30 million to come and talk about football on somebody's network. It's just time.
Wait, so do you think Brady retires win or lose?
I think he retires win or lose. Yeah. I think he retires win or lose.
I think he loses. He comes back for one more year.
I think after seeing Drew Brees go, it's just like, I don't know. I just think that does something to you. Like, you know what? I think, you know what, man, could I throw some more passes? Did I see Steve Young before a 49ers game throwing 50 yards out there in a suit and tie? Yeah, I did. So I mean, you can still throw the ball. But it just comes a time, I think, where it's just time. And I think it both ways for him is good. It's fitting if I win because I go out on top, and it's fitting if I lose because this young cat has been amazing. It just like, thank you for sending. Listen, you sent me out, so I get it. Like it's your time now, so I can get it both ways. So he just put his coat on and he did. He said he wanted to play until he was what, 45?
Yeah.
How old is he now?
43.
You know what? Never mind, man. You normally don't lie, though, right?
I don't know. You probably know Brady better than I.
No, I don't know him at all. You know what? Yes, he's done after the game. He's done. He's done. All
right, there we go. Well, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, you could, if you missed the show in its totality, go ahead and check it out. iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe, leave comments, anything you want. Follow us on Twitter at Chris and DJ Show. You can follow DJ at DJMore30. I'm at Chris Shanafelt. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, Bears hire their new defensive coordinator, Sean Desai. They elevate him from safeties coach. Then, of course, we got into the whole Matthew Stafford discussion and talked a little bit about the NFC Championship game, Super Bowl matchup. As always, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. DJ, any final words?
Peace, man. Get some rest. Wake up refreshed in the morning and enjoy the day.
That's right. Hump day.